General Hospital.
Danny never imagined that an ordinary morning in Port Charles would turn into the most difficult day of his life. The atmosphere around town had already been tense for weeks. Whispered conversations filled every corner of the Metro Court. The hospital hallways seemed quieter than usual, and everyone sensed that another unexpected twist was waiting just around the corner. The mystery began when rumors surfaced about travel records connected to Willow. No one knew exactly why those documents suddenly mattered, but once questions started being asked, curiosity spread throughout Port Charles faster than anyone expected. Friends became suspicious of one another, old disagreements resurfaced, and every new conversation seemed to raise even more questions. Willow herself tried to stay calm. She insisted that there was nothing unusual about the trips she had taken. Life had been complicated enough already, and she believed her personal decisions should remain private. Yet the more she attempted to move forward, the more people around her wondered whether there was an important detail she had chosen not to share. Meanwhile, Danny found himself caught in circumstances that quickly spiraled beyond his control. He never expected to become the center of attention, but a misunderstanding placed him directly in the middle of an investigation that had little to do with him personally. The entire town watched as officials questioned several people connected to the growing mystery. Everyone wanted answers. Why had Willow traveled when she did? Who knew about those trips? Was there a simple explanation, or was something much larger hiding beneath the surface? Carly immediately became concerned after hearing the latest rumors. She knew how quickly speculation could spread through Port Charles. Before long, assumptions often became accepted as facts, even when the complete truth had yet to emerge. Determined to protect the people she cared about, Carly began asking questions of her own. She wasn't interested in gossip. She wanted real answers before anyone's reputation suffered permanent damage. Michael struggled with mixed emotions. Part of him wanted to believe everything would eventually make sense. Another part couldn't ignore the growing list of unanswered questions. Every conversation seemed to reveal another missing piece of the puzzle. As tensions increased, Danny unexpectedly became the subject of official attention following a misunderstanding surrounding the investigation. The situation shocked everyone who knew him. Those closest to him insisted there had to be more to the story than what appeared on the surface. The news spread across Port Charles within hours. Friends rushed to support Danny, while others wondered whether his involvement might reveal another hidden connection to Willow's mysterious travel history. Elizabeth urged everyone not to rush to judgment. Experience had taught her that appearances in Port Charles were often deceiving. More than once, people had been blamed for situations they neither caused nor understood. Anna quietly reviewed every available detail. She believed facts mattered far more than rumors, and she refused to draw conclusions before every piece of information had been examined carefully. Her careful approach soon revealed that several important details had been overlooked. Some travel records appeared incomplete. Certain dates didn't match earlier assumptions. Witness accounts differed from one another. Suddenly, the investigation seemed far more complicated than anyone had expected. Willow realized that remaining silent was only making matters worse. Although she had hoped to avoid unnecessary drama, she finally decided that honesty offered the only path forward. Gathering everyone together, she explained that her travels had been connected to deeply personal matters she had preferred to keep private. Her choices had never been intended to hurt anyone, nor were they part of any elaborate scheme. Her explanation answered some questions, but raised several new ones. If Willow had been protecting something personal, why had so many details remained hidden? Who first leaked information about her travel records?
And why had Danny become involved at exactly the wrong moment? The answers seemed connected in ways no one yet understood. Across Port Charles, alliances slowly began shifting. Characters who had once distrusted each other started sharing information. Others who appeared trustworthy suddenly became less convincing. Every conversation revealed another clue. Every clue pointed toward a misunderstanding that had grown larger with every rumor. Anna continued examining every document connected to the case. Piece by piece, she reconstructed the timeline until the confusing events finally began fitting together. What initially looked suspicious was beginning to resemble a chain of unfortunate coincidences. Danny's situation also became clearer. Evidence suggested that his involvement had resulted from circumstances rather than deliberate actions. People who had doubted him started reconsidering their opinions. The emotional strain, however, had already affected everyone involved. Willow reflected on how quickly secrets, even harmless ones, could create enormous misunderstandings. She wished she had trusted those closest to her earlier, instead of believing silence would protect everyone. Michael recognized that rebuilding trust required patience rather than quick answers. Carly encouraged everyone to focus on moving forward instead of dwelling on assumptions that had nearly torn several relationships apart. By the time the dust finally began settling, Port Charles looked very different than it had only days earlier. Friendships had been tested, families had faced uncomfortable conversations, hidden emotions had surfaced. Most importantly, everyone learned that incomplete information could easily lead to painful misunderstandings. Although many questions had finally been answered, one mystery still lingered. Who first uncovered Willow's private travel information, and why had it appeared at precisely that moment? Some believed it had been an accident. Others suspected someone had deliberately set events into motion. Whatever the truth proved to be, one thing became certain: life in Port Charles would never remain peaceful for long. Every secret has a way of finding daylight. Every misunderstanding leaves lasting consequences. And every answer seems destined to uncover an even bigger mystery waiting just beyond the horizon. If you enjoyed this fictional General Hospital-inspired story, don't forget to like the video, leave your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more original fan stories and dramatic Port Charles adventures.